Hello, everyone. I'm at the Republican National Convention in the Google studios with my colleagues Gail Collins and Frank Bruni. We're kicking off a series of conversations with voters across the country. Earlier this month, a Gallup poll found that most voters are not switching sides, but still, about 9% of voters who chose Obama in 2008 are now leaning towards Mitt Romney. That's more than the number of McCain supporters who are now leaning towards Obama. We're going to speak to 4 voters who you'll meet in a moment, but first, Gail and Frank, how important are these voters who are switching sides from Obama to Romney?
Well, duh. I mean, Charles, Obama won the last election. It would be necessary for some of those people to vote for Romney in order for Romney to win this one. So I would say number one important.
I would second that. That's the whole ball game right there. That's the ball game.
So well, let's go ahead and meet some of these voters. First, we're going to have Sarah Hardy. Sarah, can you tell us a little something about yourself?
And I'm a mother of 2.
Next is Chris Steffen. Chris, can you tell us a little something about yourself?
Father of 1. I live in Eau Claire, Wisconsin. That's about it.
Okay. The third person is Bernie Donaldson. Bernie, are you there?
Yes, I am here. I'm Bernie Donaldson. I'm a business owner from Chicago, Illinois.
And last we have Mark Walls. Mark, tell us a little something about yourself.
Hi, my name is Mark. I am a computer programmer and web designer from Daytona Beach, Florida.
This is interesting. Sarah, can you tell, you voted for Obama last time, right? Sarah?
I did, ma'am.
Yeah. I'm sorry. And what made you change your mind? What made you flip over? What's the biggest single reason?
That's been the question that has come up, and in participating in this project, I have learned a lot about myself, and some of that original thought I am now questioning. But if I have to narrow it down to one issue, it would be the policy concerning the nation of Israel.
Sarah, you were also concerned, if I understood correctly, about the tone in Washington not changing in quite the way that Barack Obama had said he would like it to. Is that a big concern of yours, and is that something you really feel was within his capability or control?
I do feel that is an issue, and that question, that's a really good question. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it is in his control. I don't know.
So it sounds, Sarah, like you're a flipper who may be a flopper. Is that true? You're kind of in the middle, going back and forth.
I did the research so that I at least would feel competent to participate in this project, and I'm not ashamed to say that I learned things about both candidates that have affected me both for the positive and for the negative.
And Sarah, what is your voting history? So that before you voted for Barack Obama, were you generally a Democrat, leaning Democratic, or did you generally vote for a Republican ticket, or do you go back and forth depending on the issues of that particular election?
In my voting history, even though I am a libertarian in view, I have voted Democrat from when I could vote Clinton administration on. My vote has tended to be Democratic, yes.
Can I ask Bernie a question? Bernie, your central concern is about business, is that true, and about the business climate?
Yeah, I guess we're a business owner here in the city, and I guess primary concern is jobs for younger Americans and what the future of the country is going to be. What I do for a living, someone is set on corporate spending, and whether it's Fortune 500 companies, but it becomes a trickle down, and I see there's been a lot of holdback on, it's quarter to quarter. People are very uncertain, I think, of what the future brings. So
Bernie, I'm intrigued. You're living in Chicago, so I assume that before you voted for Obama in 2008, you knew him pretty well from Illinois politics and all that. What have you seen of him in the White House that has perhaps turned you off or turned you toward Romney?
Well, I think primarily, I've voted Republican my whole life from President Reagan in 1980 all the way up until both Bush terms. And I was just not a fan of the regime that was running. I thought it was time for a change in 2008, and I guess I've kind of been disappointed. Not that I expected President Obama to change everything overnight. I think it was a little bit more of, I think the stimulus package really bothered me a little bit. That bothered me quite a bit. I've been able to see some of that spending, but on a personal note, just being where my office is situated, President Obama is a very personable person. He was always you would see him all the time, and there's nothing personally about the man. I think he's really, quite honestly, a great guy. But I think I just disagree in the politics of it.
Would you say that you're anti-Obama or pro-Romney? And if you're pro-Romney, what in Mitt Romney's policies gives you confidence that he will change that situation for the better?
I think just from a business perspective, I think his background will lend itself. I think a big government is not good, and I think things need to be privatized more in the future for the government. I think the government needs to be run like a business.
Which things would you privatize? I'm sorry to break into it. Which things, you say more things need to be privatized? What things in particular about the government would you like to see move from government control to private control?
That's a pretty large open-ended question, but I think just from my vantage point, it's let me get back to that. Let me give that some thought so I give you a proper answer.
Okay.
Chris, let me move on to you for a sec. Your main concern is health care, is that true?
Yes.
And you feel that your current situation is better than it would be under a second Obama administration?
I don't know if it'd be better. It's just my only concern was when Obama redid the Medicaid thing. Well, I suppose to get into the whole story, my son was born with a heart condition, and he had a hole in his heart. He had to have open heart surgery at 4.5 months. And from the day he was born, he was on Medicaid. When Obama went in and redid it, all of a sudden we lost Medicaid. And the only saving grace I have is that I'm from Wisconsin and that we have Badger Care. So, I mean, can I vote for a guy who pretty much put me into the poorhouse because if my son has to have another heart surgery, I'm just going to have to declare bankruptcy?
Hey, Chris, it's interesting. We have someone from Chicago. We have you from Wisconsin, and of course, Wisconsin has become central in this race with the pick of Paul Ryan. Did the Paul Ryan pick make you more excited to vote about the Romney and now Ryan ticket, or does that give you any pause?
Honestly, it really didn't sway it either way.
And I just want to ask this question, just kind of a factual question, just so that I can understand this. You're saying that Obamacare, as you call it, removed your son from the Medicaid rolls, and that has nothing to do with the state government and whether or not they will take the funds that are provided for under Obamacare or not? Is that? I just want to make sure that I understand what you say has happened in your family.
No, this is before the recent Obamacare thing. When it first went in, this is about a year into his office. We got letters in the mail saying that we were going to get reevaluated due to changing of regulations or whatever it was. And then all of a sudden we got another letter in the mail saying that he was no longer getting it.
And they specifically said that was because of the health care plan?
Yeah, when it comes to, well, yes and no, typical doctor jargon, but it said that due to changes in certain regulations that it had to be changed.
Mark, when you look ahead, if you envision, say, a Romney presidency, do you have some confidence that things will work out as well or better for you and your son? How do you see that?
I mean, hindsight's 20/20, but I can't say that it's going to be any better because I don't really know until it happens. I just know what I'm living through now, and I just think it can be better.
And would you specifically endorse the idea of Medicaid being block granted to the states? or not?
Would it be what to the states?
Being block granted, Medicaid funds being block granted to the states instead of administered on the federal level as they are now.
I think that would help for some states, and I think it would be a curse for some others. I guess I don't really know.
Okay.
Let's hear from Mark. Mark, you're another person who is either planning to or thinking of changing from an Obama vote in 2008 to a Romney vote now. Is that more about disappointment with Obama, or are you excited about Romney?
Well, I have to back up for a second there. I'm not voting for either candidate. I've decided this will be the first election that I do not vote in.
When did you make that decision, and why?
Why? We don't have enough time for that.
Thanks for your honesty.
I made that decision, I'd say about a year and a half into Obama's term.
That you wouldn't vote for anyone, or that you wouldn't vote for him?
I knew I wouldn't vote for him again.
Okay.
And now that I've gotten to know and read up on and watch Mitt Romney, I've decided I'm not going to vote for him either.
Is there anyone who is out there maybe going to run who could have gotten your vote this time around?
I think the only person that'd be qualified to get my vote would be like Mickey Mouse, because honestly, it's like watching the Cartoon Network when you're watching some of these guys up on TV.
Now, Mark, is this because of that sense of gridlock in Washington and the high partisanship, or is it something in particular that Barack Obama did that you found really irritating?
I think it's the laundry list of promises that Barack Obama broke that he initially made in his first campaign. There were many things that I was looking forward to, and being a younger voter then, I was still in my 20s, and I had thought, just like many young people, that everything needed to be redone. We can do it better. Our generation had the right idea. We needed some change. And I tell you now, a father of 4, my kids are in private school, and the only change that I have left is what's in my cup holder in my minivan. That's the only change I've seen.
I know you said it would take a long time and there's a laundry list, but just give us like the first 2 or 3 broken promises that really turned you off from Barack Obama. And also, if you could give us 1 or 2 that you found out about Mitt Romney that made you say that you wouldn't vote for him either.
Mitt Romney, let's start with Mitt Romney. I guess that's a shorter list. Mitt Romney's the kind of guy I can look in the eye and I can tell he's a born liar. I don't feel comfortable with anything the man says. And if he runs this country like he's run any of his other businesses, I think we're all in for a ride of our lives. He was governor of Massachusetts. Massachusetts isn't even going to vote for him. I believe Obama's leading the polls in his own state. That should tell you something. He's pretty much done nothing with it. Well, he's done a lot for the companies he's worked for and been involved in, but nothing to the positive. Massachusetts, for example, is one of the leading states in unemployment and lack of job creation.
Give us 1 or 2 Obamas now.
Right.
Of why I don't want to vote for Obama?
Yeah, the broken promises you mentioned before.
Well, we can start with his foreign policy, the economy, healthcare. Obama's got the mentality of we can just spend all the money we want and we'll just print more. I think the last count put us between $15–16 trillion in debt, most of it to China. America is supposed to be a capitalist country, the greatest democracy on the face of the earth, and I have to tell my little girl that we are now in debt to the largest communist country in the world. Obama didn't fix anything with Medicare, I believe, like Chris said, my heart goes out to you and your son, but my daughter is going through something similar to that.
Let me ask Bernie, as you listen to Mark talk about Romney and Obama, what do you agree with there, and what do you disagree with?
I wouldn't say with Romney, just to back up, I was in support of Mitt Romney before George Bush. And I thought, again, from a business, I think he ran his company. There's a lot of people that are upset by his wealth. I don't think it really has anything to do with him lining his pockets with other people's money. I think he's a smart guy. I think his family background is pretty strong. I don't think he's dishonest. That's just my opinion.
Do you think? Do you think it's safe? You said you like the way he ran his business. Do you think it's safe to extrapolate from his business experience to what he'd be like as president?
Well, I guess they just asked before about what, privatizing some things out of the government. And one of it is, if you look at big corporations that have been, health insurance benefits have been cut out of most major corporations, all the pensions are gone. That really, until our country is going to balance a budget, we have to get rid of those pensions and benefits that go to federal employees, federal, state, municipal. The only people that I think should really be on it, are people that are public servants, police, firemen, in the military.
Sarah, I'm sorry, Bernie, I wanted to let everybody get a little bit of a chance here. Sarah, is there anything that you've heard that resonates with you or that you violently disagree with? What are your thoughts now?
My thoughts are that, yes, what has been said resonates with me. I too am disenchanted, and like I said, I have my own slant. I do know that as far as broken promises go, I am troubled by what has gone on in Iraq. I was hoping that a disengagement was going to be more complete. That's what I understood it to be. That's what I understood the promise to be. So, again, I focus on foreign policy, and Mitt Romney then on the other side coming out and making a stand for Israel obviously was encouraging to me. However, when I think about his policies concerning women, I'm frankly frightened. So again, I'm torn.
Let me give Chris another chance here. We're talking to you from the convention in Florida. There are going to be a lot of speeches. Ann Romney tonight, Mitt Romney coming up in a couple days. Are you watching this here, and does this have any impact on what you do come Election Day?
Well, I'm not watching it right now, but yeah, it will.
You will watch the speeches and listen to them and make decisions based on them?
Yeah, well, yes and no. I mean, I'll be honest with you, there's a lot of bitterness with what I went through with Obama. So, I mean, it would be hard-pressed for me not to vote for Mitt Romney.
So we're running out of time. We have to wrap up. And I just want to get, your takeaway. This is a small sampling of voters, obviously. But, what do you take away from the four people we talked to today?
I really want to thank the four people who were kind enough to be with us today. And what's interesting is both how thoughtful you've been in your feelings and your expressing of your doubts, and also, frankly, how generally unhappy you guys seem with the choices that are offered to you. It doesn't seem like many people are there waving their batons and saying, "Oh gosh, Mitt Romney will save us now." It's your depression is interesting, I must say.
Right. I think you four are an interesting snapshot for the exact reason that Gail just said. I think this is one of those elections where most of the people who are going to be voting are not voting with enormous enthusiasm and passion for the candidate. They're choosing whoever they think is the least bad alternative. I know that sounds horrible and negative, but I think that's been the tenor of this election. I think you pick it up in the voices of these four voters. Thank you all.
All right. Thanks for everyone for being here. This has been a really interesting discussion. We'll be back a couple more times this week with other discussions, and I hope that you will join us then. Thank you very much.
Thank you.